What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown for UFC Vegas 15, and yeah, not the best card in the world, especially after losing the main event. We lost another fight earlier in the week, but still some money to be made here. And yeah, this is a really sketchy card. It's not a card I really go all in on, but there are some spots I like that we'll talk about here. Talk about some leans, go over this card from strictly a betting perspective, as always. Before we get started, if you guys can leave a like, subscribe if you have not yet, would appreciate that a ton. And with that said, we're going to get started. Going to be kind of a shorter video for a couple of reasons. For one, this card's not that great. And for two, we're only down to 10 fights for this card. So we'll start with the first fight of the night, Nate Maness versus Luke Sanders. And Maness opened up as a minus 180 favorite, which is really surprising there. Sanders opened up as a plus 140 underdog. At this point, Sanders is like minus 155, minus 160. I'd probably pass. Sanders is going to be the pick. I do have a better on Sanders myself. I got him at minus 130. I like that number a lot better, but now that it's getting like to minus 160, I see minus 165 on some books. I definitely pass there, but I do expect him to win. I think he's a much better fighter and the more experienced fighter, but fought the better competition. So give me Sanders there to get it done. Sumidargi versus Malcolm Gordon. Medargi opened at minus 375, now is minus 305. So yeah, Medargi, it used to be Curtis Blades, was my most confident pick. Now it is now Sumidargi. And I do have a bet on Sumidargi inside the distance at minus 120. I have 2 units on that. And probably my favorite bet on the whole card. Malcolm Gordon's someone who has been knocked out 3 times. I swear in like every fight I watched, Malcolm Gordon was out there getting hurt. And Medargi's somebody who's really young, 24 years old, improving each and every time out, working on that takedown defense. Some props I like is Sumidargi by knockout is plus 130. I really like that. Malcolm Gordon by submission. If you're on the Gordon side, it's probably going to be submission. That's about the only path to victory I can see, and that's plus 600. But I really like Sumidargi to get it done inside the distance. He is definitely a parlay piece if I was to do one. Sumidargi all day there. Kamaka versus Jonathan Pierce. Yeah, I would leave Kamaka out of your parlays. I think this line is way off. Watching tape on Jonathan Pierce previously to his last fight before the Joe Lozon fight, he actually looks pretty good. There's a lot of volume, solid takedown defense. The problem is he's very hittable. That's why I'm slightly leaning Kamaka, but I really don't get the minus 300 line. I think Kamaka is probably going to win a decision here. Kamaka has 0 knockout wins on his record, only has 1 submission on his record. Pierce is someone who's been finished 4 times. Just going to be a pass here, dog or pass if anything. Yeah, I see a lot of people taking the shot on Pierce. Don't hate that whatsoever. I think this fight's going to play out close, but the pick's going to be Kamaka ever so slightly to edge out a decision there, but definitely would not bet that. Gina Mazzani versus Rachel Ostovich. Another dog or pass situation here. Mazzani's like minus 200 on some books. I really don't understand why people are betting on this fight. Ostovich, I think if she takes Mazzani down, could have an advantage. Ostovich has some pretty solid wrestling, pretty solid grappling. Mazzani has a 20% takedown defense thus far in the UFC. So I'm going to slightly lean Ostovich. Not really any confidence on it. Would never bet this fight in a million years, but good luck to anybody that is. Martin Day versus Anderson dos Santos. Day minus 245 opened up, and then dos Santos opened up minus 180, plus 185, and Day is currently sitting at minus 155, and dos Santos currently plus 145. Yeah, I like Day to get the win here. I just don't really like the line. I think this could play out close. What I did do is I played the fight doesn't go to decision line at plus 150. It's at plus 130. I still don't mind that. I don't mind the under as well. These are 2 guys that are going to go out and stand and bang until one man falls. I think if dos Santos does go in there and use his wrestling and his grappling, I think he has a decent advantage. He just doesn't do that as much as you'd like to see. So I think Day's going to knock him out. Dos Santos is extremely hittable, and Day does pack some power, but Day has been knocked out twice himself. So instead of betting aside here, I really do like the fight doesn't go to decision or even the under 2.5 there. Ashley Evans-Smith versus Norma Dumont. Yeah, big pass here again. There's just not much information on Norma Dumont, not much tape out there, so it's really hard to gauge where she's at. And Dumont actually opened up as a minus 175 favorite, which is really interesting there. She is now plus 125. Yeah, definitely a fight you do not want to bet here. Big pass for me. I was leaning Dumont until the weigh-ins. Dumont did not look so great. She missed weight by like 3.5 pounds. It's just a pass either way, though. I can't put my money on this fight. Spike Carlisle versus Bill Algeo. I think Algeo is one of the more popular dogs of the week, and understandable. I think people want to go out there and fade Carlisle's gas tank, and it's understandable. But I do think Carlisle gets him out there early, probably in the first round. And that's what I like about Carlisle. He comes out there and he goes after it, and he goes after it early. If anything, maybe look at the Carlisle round 1 prop. Other than that, minus 170, that is a little bit too wide for me. Carlisle inside the distance, plus 105. If you're on the Carlisle side, don't hate that. Algeo by decision, plus 265 is not a bad look. if you're on the Algeo side, because Spike Carlisle is never been finished, never been submitted, never been knocked out. But yeah, I'm going to take Carlisle to get it done early, but no confidence in that really. Just not going to bet it. Going to sit back and watch. Miguel Baeza versus Takashi Sato. So I had a parlay with Baeza and Blades for plus 110. I like that parlay a lot. Now it turns into a straight bet on Baeza at minus 150, which I don't hate it. I like Baeza in this fight. I think he's the better striker. I think he's going to be throwing more volume, a lot more volume than Sato here. I really like his leg kicks, and Sato is really heavy on that lead leg. But these are two guys that can very well knock each other out. But I am leaning to the Baeza side. Baeza inside the distance plus 115. I don't hate that whatsoever. KO plus 170, it's not a bad look. Baeza has 0 submissions on his record, although he is a black belt in BJJ, so something to think about there. Baeza by submission plus 1025, that's not a bad look there. But yeah, give me a Baeza. I don't hate him as a parlay piece. And there's really only like 2 guys that parlay on this card at this point. It would be Sumidargi and Baeza. I didn't do that myself, but if I was to do a parlay, it'd probably be that one. Josh Parisian versus Parker Porter. Yeah, actually a really tough fight to call here. Watching tape on Parisian, not impressed at all, actually. So I think this fight's going to play out close. I do think someone's getting finished, though. Minus 490. Fight doesn't go to decision. No point in touching that. Going to be a big pass here. It's a co-main event, I believe, unless they change it to Baeza Sato. I'm going to take Parisian to get it done. Just really no confidence in it. I think he's going to knock out Porter. Porter's been knocked out 4 times. But give me Parisian to get it done, but no confidence in that. Anthony Smith versus Devin Clark. Yeah, so at the beginning of the week, I was more so on the Devin Clark side, but after adding those extra 2 rounds in, I really do think that favors Anthony Smith a lot more for a couple reasons. So Devin Clark gets tired in 3-round fights. So imagine a 5-round fight there. And Anthony Smith has multiple 5-round fights, on his record. So I do think Anthony Smith has a ton more experience. He's been fighting the better guys. Anthony Smith's been going to fighting like guys like Alexander Gustafsson, John Jones, Glover Teixeira, Alexander Rakic, to guys like Devin Clark. So if Smith loses this one, I really do think he should hang it up. It probably would be the worst loss of his UFC career if he lost to Devin Clark here. And I know Smith has looked absolutely atrocious his last couple fights, but we got to think that's against guys like Alexander Rakic. I mean, guys like Glover Teixeira. This is a big, massive step down. So you'd think that he would look a little bit better, but at the weigh-ins he did not look so great. But like I said, if he does not win this fight, I do think he should hang him up. But Devin Clark's someone that's really not all that impressive in his own right. The dude's been knocked out twice. He's been submitted twice. He's been finished in all 4 of his losses. He's kind of on the chinny side, makes a lot of mistakes on the mat. And Anthony Smith is a finisher. He's finished 91% of his fights. So what I did was I played Anthony Smith to win inside the distance. I think I got it at like plus 150, plus 155. Put a unit on that. I think his path to victory is getting that finish. As for the Devin Clark, I even think Devin Clark inside the distance is not bad. I do see someone getting finished in this fight. Both guys with questionable cardio, especially for Anthony Smith at this point. His cardio has not looked up to par. So I think someone's getting finished here, and I am going to go with the finisher. And Anthony Smith, we can take a look at some of the stats here. Anthony Smith has finished 91% of his wins. Devin Clark only 33%. Anthony Smith has only been finished in six times in 49 fights. Devin Clark's been finished 4 times in 16 fights. So I do like Anthony Smith to, I'm going to give him one more shot here to get the finish on Devin Clark. Devin Clark is, not the greatest fighter. Anthony Smith at this point in his career is not the greatest fighter. If this fight was scheduled like a year ago, like Anthony Smith would literally be like minus 500, minus 600. Anthony Smith, the same guy that was a decent favorite over Glover Teixeira a couple months ago. So I'm going to give Smith one more chance, 32 years old, but the damage is definitely caught up to him. If he does not win this fight against Devin Clark, it's, like I said, probably the worst loss of his UFC career, and he probably should hang him up at this point. So the picks Anthony Smith and betting him inside the distance there. So some other lanes I want to talk about. I think the Mazzani and Ostovich fight doesn't go to decision, plus 155, or even the under is something you can look at. Both are decent finishers, actually, and both have been finished a lot. So Mazzani's been finished 3 times, twice by knockout, once by submission in her 4 losses. And Ostovich has been finished 3 times by submission, once by KO, and then lost by decision. So in 4 of her 5 losses, she's getting finished. So both these fighters getting finished. Nice plus money number there. So I actually don't hate the under there, or even the fight doesn't go to decision. Other than that, like I said, I'm really on the Sumidargi side a lot. Probably my biggest play of the night is Sumidargi inside the distance. It's now sitting at minus 145. I still think there's value on that. But yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any questions, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers as well. And as always, my betting content's always going to be free. But if you do want to sign up on the Patreon, you get the model you see here. Every time I place a bet, I get it out there so we can beat some line movement, like we did a little bit this week. Also, we get my article that's got out last night, and access to the Discord, all that good stuff, and it really helps me out. So sign up, support. Appreciate everybody that has thus far, over 200 members on there. So that's about it. Really bad card this week, but still an opportunity to make some money. I like the spots I have, and good luck, guys. And let's get it for UFC Vegas 15, Anthony Smith versus Devin Clark.